Hello there everyone and welcome back. We're doing a double take with Mechanicus and hopefully I can perform a little bit better for these series of matches. Time will tell, but I like to think the Novacans have been doing decently. They at least been effective at slowing them down. It's just a matter of what do I do when the close combat confrontation is inevitable, which is kind of oddly what's been happening in even my town matchups from the last episode. So I don't know what to make of that there, but still, I feel like maybe I still feel bitter a little bit about that 4 battleship loss there, but we'll try and improve on that, and maybe, if we're lucky enough, maybe we'll get ourselves some victories if we get more Imperial Navy matchups of that sort. Time will tell, though. Okay, I guess I get my wish in an Imperial Navy matchup. Now it's just a question of what we're actually dealing with here. For cruisers, should in theory be a lot more easier to manage since they're a lot more easier to get the critical hits I want on them. And the more of their engines I can cripple, have them limping, the less I have to deal with for a close range engagement. But if they're battleships, that becomes a lot more difficult to do, and in retrospect maybe I should have switched over to reload stance to help with my firepower in that matchup, since walk-on's not as impactful. Now I lost my train of thought, damn it, but I think supercharged voice shield wasn't really necessary. I don't know what ultimately I was hoping to get from that last match. It did well, don't get me wrong, but it seems like there was a lack of damage. We didn't do at least enough damage to at least fight them in close range, and they didn't even have armor-piercing ammo. Only exception is maybe I got hit by a bunch of torpedoes. I know there was a couple of fire assaults, but I can't quite recall. Also, I'm going to have to keep in mind where they're likely to deploy. That's going to help with my positioning as well. So very much they should go over here, with that said. And since I want my battleship to try and be the center of attention, ideally, although for the sake of its turning speed, maybe I want the light cruiser and the cruiser to be there, so that way they can turn and get behind the battleship without maybe minimizing a little bit of vulnerability. At least that way the battleship doesn't have to go up here, and if my opponent does recklessly boost forward, at least it gives me a little more breathing room. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Regardless, let's just see what happens here and play it by ear. Yep, they unclicked there, I suppose. I was watching for that. And I should stick with the Colexis Assassin, but I'm not going to be prioritizing deck. So I don't know if that's as effective as it could be. Oh. Interesting formation here. Not grouped up, which, if I can identify him and start shooting him early, that works out well. Dang it, I couldn't get the priority on that ship I wanted. Alright. So what can I tell from this? 2 frigates on the left, and 4 potential cruisers, so maybe it's not too ridiculous we're dealing with a handful of battleships again. They're just a bit spread out, and 2 of them are in placements that are not really helpful until they get up to this objective anyway, in which case I should be able to start shooting at them quite freely. No. Otherwise, all we can really do is wait. Oh yeah, there's 5 ships, never mind. There was one in the gas cloud, I guess, during this period. I need to know what they are first, so gas cloud's likely going to reveal them, so let's reveal these 2. And then frigate, or the frigates there, can reveal the rest for me. There, we get the objective easily enough. This gives the battleship an opportunity to at least get in the middle of everything. And then otherwise, I'm probably going to want to forfeit the center a tiny bit until I can be a little more comfortable with what we're up against. Since last thing I want is to be surrounded by a bunch of battleships or cruisers with a lot of torpedoes on me. Even though it would maximize my firepower, it'd be a lot harder to dodge and avoid ramming attempts that way. And let's see, you're about to get revealed. Recall them, they're only overlords, so... Huh, maybe we're dealing with a bunch of overlords instead.
The spirits obey.
Alright, every single one of them is an overlord that we can tell. So our firepower is pretty comparable with that said. And what kind of upgrades? No short burn torpedoes, so we have a less experienced opponent, so I apologize for that. Because this might be brutal if they don't know how to deal with the Novacans the best. And we did conveniently kill off a frigate, which isn't a big deal. But let's get what damage we can, and I'm assuming we're gonna get in our boost. Hell, they are boosted out there. We are at least getting hits in still, and I have good long-range durability. Never mind the critical hit resilience on this battleship as well. Now I just gotta hit and have it add up. And if I can... I should be trying to boost to help minimize or dodge these macro cannons too. And watch for where it's at. Alright. We have another Novacan up in a moment. Now I gotta be ready to evade in a moment here.
Hostile signature detected. We are ready to serve.
Because this might hurt.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Engines destroyed there. I'm waiting for... Oh, we have... Wait, torpedoes coming in and I have boosters. I just want to make sure this Maelstrom does... Oh, hold that thought.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Hold that thought.
Optimal course set.
Now,
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
let's see if we can get the hits in, although my light cruiser's not long for this world, sadly. But we're getting amazing damage on this one ship here. This cruiser, I want to try and slow him down more. Keep in mind torpedoes.
Machine spirit appeased. Engage engine red lines.
That one ship is done. Let's switch to reload stance with that said. And I'm going to let that light cruiser go. It's not as valuable here. And what's the one ship over here? Huh. Interesting. Now, can we get a nice Novacan shot of some kind? Although I shouldn't be burning my Novacans too much, but we have them wedged in there a tiny bit. Now I would like to hit that. Let's see. It's hard. I'm having a difficult time hitting them. It goes without saying, but disruption bomb is fine. I want the flagship. And I do have Colexis Assassin, so I've been doing a terrible job utilizing that. So damage the deck, although my battleship has not been doing well.
Hostile signature detected.
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
Alright, so let's see.
You have seized a
Let's
strategic
try and minimize the firepower here. At least on the cruiser so it doesn't get more. Or at least it doesn't... Oh, hold that thought, I'm expecting torpedoes here.
Engine red lines. The spirits obey.
Well, that was convenient. Thank you for that. Now your ramming spurs is not a factor here. And I have Colexis Assassin. I'm going to have to rally as well since I'm suffering morale damage here. Well, it was only on the flagship, I suppose, so... Not a big deal. Alright, I tried warning them. To no effect. I'm sadly not getting the Novacan shots I like, but that just means it's going to be that much more of a tense battle.
thy wounded servant.
Now, I could dodge these. I have the speed for easily.
State your order. Engage.
And we
engine
should be able to
red
dodge
lines.
this easily enough.
Does
Stasis
not
bomb.
compute.
Might catch this one here.
We are ready to serve. Reroute power
I am
to
out of it,
electric
though.
propulsion. Transition begun.
Alright,
Calculating vectors.
we'll just disengage and just pull out.
Reroute power to retro
Although that was bad
propulsion.
timing for repair.
The spirits obey. Machine spirit appeased. Energize vectored thrust.
So that will force him
Receiving your
out.
order. With
Alright.
matchless
I have brace
efficiency.
for impact, and you are just turning your stern to him.
Transition begun. Hostile signature detected. Hostile signature detected. To serve the Omnisire.
Yeah, I have to applaud them for that at the very least, and now that
Rouse the engines.
permanent engine destruction seals the deal on that one cruiser at least. Although, it's that one cruiser that was MIA. How would that have played out if that was still in the fight? Since I didn't quite get the connections I wanted, but at the same time their torpedoes were well mitigated as well. So, it was a lot tougher fight than it probably should have been. Or at least what would have been expected is probably the proper thing to say. Since we've seen the frigates, they weren't really solid running. The Nova cannons were being dodged, and that is a lot of my firepower, since that was what, 5 overlords I think? So, potentially, I could get outgunned there. The only thing that's going in my advantage is probably disruption overcharge to really, cripple their shields. And I have abilities that are a lot more damaging than, say, a plasma bomb. Whereas Imperial Navy have almost exclusively utility type abilities. So, that would be what I would have to rely on if I were to win. Just these unique upgrades and of course the better damage potential they had. Which honestly the Rad Tempest didn't do all that great, if I were to be honest. But a damn tense match and one I appreciate, so thank you for that. Ooh, this is going to be a different matchup. Although we've dealt with Necron before, so everything's been said that need to be said. It remains to be seen what fleet they're utilizing though. Scourges can be tense, can be tenuous, since you never can tell how much damage those fighters will do to me. But the Scourges themselves are not really all that terrifying. Hell, it's again the question, do I go armor piercing or do I go with the morale route and try and break them? I feel like maybe I want the additional the armor piercing, because they'll be helpful, and of course disruption overcharge keeps them from regenerating their health, which effectively denies them one of their stances. And maybe, I seriously doubt it, but I think maybe it denies the regeneration from their Scarab Swarm Cloud too. I'm pretty certain it doesn't, since that's more of an ability rather than a passive benefit, but I could be wrong. And where are they going to likely deploy? Probably over here. And I should be able to comfortably boost anyway. Comfortably boost and move on out. And Mecha Dominator should be... I'm a little bit reluctant to use this because it seems like it can murder at least less experienced Necron opponents quickly. But we'll try it there, and this looks like the traditional type of fleet. Nope. I see at least one Scourge. That could mean anything.
To serve the Omnisire.
So let's try and grab this.
Rouse the engines.
And is there a third one hiding in the gas cloud? That's the only thing I'm not sure about. Hell, there may have been something hiding in that gas cloud, because 2 ships is a little unusual, let alone with a Scourge.
Receiving your order.
But we'll see what happens, and I'm doing a bad job controlling my Novas there. They're supposed to be out there and
State your
spotting.
order. Engage engine
And at least this one
redlines.
fighter squadron should easily get sniped down by the point defense. And then suddenly you find out it's a full squadron of their scourges, or, well, whatever these things are called. Doom scythes, I think they're called. Yep, here. 2 scourges, so where the hell is the other ones? Is the big question. Okay, not even coming towards me, interestingly enough.
You have seized a strategic area.
Although I want to kill that off so I can blind them.
We are ready to serve.
At least I can make them lose their lock. So it's worth doing. Which I think I already killed off the fighter, so
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
that should be a nice simple deflection there. We don't kill any of their charges. And that looks like a frigate. All I can really say there. And I gotta be mindful, I gotta watch this Nova, because it's likely gonna get spotted if the Scourges start launching more fighters, but I got a perfect direction I want to go here with this gas cloud.
With matchless efficiency.
The enemy has
And you're already
seized
launching a single
strategic
fighter
area.
squadron. Interesting placement with that said, but
To serve the Omnissiah.
what are they going
You
after?
have seized a
Alright, they're just going
strategic
after the
area.
battleship and all that.
The spirits obey.
So that's easy enough to deal with. Hopefully we can deny fission before they arrive.
The spirits obey.
It's looking likely, especially if they're focusing on these two. They're still coming. But we are hitting. So there is that. Does give away the 1 frigate spot, but... And let's not burn your combustion gauge if we could, please.
State your order.
Alright, so 2 Scourges, so they have points for something else.
Engaging drive.
It is a less skilled opponent, I suppose. Or at least these... Yeah, they don't need Structural
enemy
Analyzer
has
for
seized
something
a
that relies on their
strategic
fighters to
area.
do damage. So I apologize to them.
You have seized a strategic
Although I
area.
could have had an opportunity, well, I still have an opportunity to fire some Nova cans on them.
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
It's a question of what's the rest of their fleet, though. Do they have more for me to worry about? And this should prompt an inertialess drive, I would imagine.
Engaging drive.
Sadly, I am out of range, so that's probably the smartest thing my opponent could have done there, despite how optimistic I'm feeling for this matchup.
To serve the Omnissiah. Rouse the
Now,
engines.
let's try and do what damage we can. I'm gonna lose objectives quickly, but
We are ready to serve.
that actually connected. I wasn't really expecting that. But let's keep this momentum going then. Until they do jump. There. And this is why it was smart to just jump away, as opposed to jump in.
To serve the Omnissiah.
Oh, and I am getting hit by fighters, so keep that in mind.
Mission protocols active.
Okay, so you have mass recall.
Hostile signature detected.
Alright. All works for me there.
Appeased.
And they are utilizing the triple Scourge fleet.
Your order.
Can we kill this off quickly? Hell, I have fighters. That should be an easy thing to do.
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
Can I get fission away
With matchless efficiency.
out of these fighters?
Machine
So I
spirits
don't know if
appeased.
that did enough to be relevant or not, but good starting damage at least.
We are ready to serve.
And I am Scanner Pulse,
To
but
serve the
that doesn't do
Omnissiah.
much for now.
Rouse the engines to fury.
Can we cripple this? Well, I do have objectives still.
To serve the Omnissiah.
It's still interesting skill upgrades for the maneuvers we're seeing, but
State your order.
let's try and see what they're going after, because I can use the asteroid belts for fission or denial.
Transition begun. Reroute power to retro propulsion.
I just gotta watch for the scanner pulse to fade.
Receiving your order.
I don't know if we're getting close to that
Reroute
expiring.
power to retro propulsion.
Okay, that was best case situation I could ask for there. We have objectives.
Receiving your order.
Actually, you continue grabbing this point.
Begun.
You'll even get on a different group as a result of that.
Machine spirit appeased.
You have accumulated 25%
Alright.
of strategic points.
Now
Thruster
let's
routines
kill
active.
the one ship here. Although Mechanicus, you're not helping me.
Receiving your order. The spirits obey.
And sadly, this is going to suffer heavy morale damage, or troop damage, but
The spirits
kill that
obey.
now, please. That will make my life a lot more manageable.
Severe damage to their corrupted machine.
And get out of the Scarab Swarm as a bonus.
Machine spirit appeased.
So there goes a third of their main firepower.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And actually, let me set myself to reload,
Reroute power to retro
because now I can kind of get a little more closer.
Calculating vectors.
And Dex destroyed. Keep that in mind.
Engaging drive.
And prioritize the deck for the Mechanic.
Assault successful.
Was it Mecha Dominator is what I'm trying to say. Damn it, bad time. Oh, never mind, the crew's dead. But the weapon is still damaged either way.
Assault compute. Machine spirit
So this should be a good
appeased.
exchange.
Rouse the engines
And this is gonna hurt.
to serve the Omnisire.
I don't quite get the armor piercing range, but
The enemy has accumulated 25%
let's
of
make them
strategic
suffer
points.
for this. I did lose a cruiser though, keep that in mind.
Thruster routines
And if that can
active.
repair, it can get its Novacan back up. And try and destroy the deck as much as I can too. And I do have Raymond's Burst, so I should make it a point to kill this off.
Transition
Sadly, it's
begun.
not going to be as likely.
Engage engine red lines.
Let's see, can I distract the fighters if only briefly?
Appeased. With matchless efficiency.
You have
Another
accumulated
50 seconds still till that emergency repair comes back up.
To serve the Omnisire.
But
Optimal course set.
I do have armor piercing ammo. Flagship is at risk of dying.
Rouse the engines to fury.
Actually, kill off the crew. This thing is pretty much dead regardless.
Calculating vectors. Reroute power to retro propulsion.
I'm not getting the critical hit I want, sadly.
Thruster
Or I'm not,
routines
at
active.
least not getting the deck critical hit.
We are ready to serve.
You'll be able to
The
fire in
enemy
20
has
seconds.
accumulated 50% of strategic points.
And
Severe damage to the corrupted machine. Rouse the engines.
they are limited fighter counts, but that's not going to help me
State
too
your
much.
order. Calculating vectors.
Just, I suppose,
Severe
I try and
damage
avoid
to
the
their
ramming, and now the
corrupted
deck
machine.
is finally destroyed, which is unfortunate.
Machine spirit appeased. The spirits obey.
And no way to recover the
Reroute
ship's
power
crew,
to
is there?
retro propulsion. State your order.
It's still possible I have armor piercing ammo, but it can also regenerate
You
his
have
health.
seized a strategic area.
I do have 3 points
We are
though,
ready to serve.
so these two ships should be trying to
Engaging
join in.
drive.
Just avoid getting rammed is the
Serve
main thing,
Omnisire.
because I'm about to repair in a moment. And the deck is getting close to breaking. And I'll have my crew back up in about 9 seconds. Actually, I don't even need to wait that long.
State your order. Engaging drive.
Not going to be very much crew damage, but this is going to be close. Just contribute into this fighting.
Engage engine red lines.
You have accumulated
Just a little bit more.
75%
Thank you.
of strategic
Good God,
points.
that was down to the wire. Or so it feels like. A little bit odd of a match. Because after all, those were...
Close to victory by
I don't
strategic
know
points.
how I feel about those upgrades, because Structural Analyzer doesn't really benefit Scourges all that well. Since they have so little of the... What is it? The lightning arcs. They rely almost exclusively on their Doom Scythes to do damage, so I'm a little bit shocked to see this. And Lightning Strike additional range. Reason this is an odd upgrade is because the Lightning Arcs are the only weapon that really goes through the shields, or at least does damage to the shields to do a Lightning Strike. And when your Lightning Strike range is greater than your Lightning Arcs, then there's not really a lot of value in this, outside of hit and run maneuvers, possibly. But that was an interesting match. It was a bit odd, but my opponents seemed like they were sort of knew what they were doing. It was half and half. The first Scourge jumped away, the second one jumped into all my damage, and it did force a mass recall, I suppose, which props to them for at least taking advantage of that. Okay, in a rematch with Imperial Navy, we'll see how this plays out. If we're going to get a different kind of match, but it was definitely a tense match before, but our opponent kind of left an Overlord on its own and not really doing much. So we'll see what happens, maybe? We'll see. If the chat window will open, thank you. This might be... I enjoyed the last match there, if nothing else. Or at least with Imperial Navy. It's just, again, how would that have played out if all the Overlords were present? Since I don't really have the firepower, since otherwise I would have an additional cruiser, which I theoretically could get additional cruiser, but it requires me getting rid of my frigates, which hurts me quite notably in other matchups, so I don't think I want to do that. Hell. Do I really want, well, I could boost with my cruisers. I suppose I could get away with it if I'm on top of my game. And the battleship can... Well, actually, the battleship can just hug the middle there. Just that everything converge with the battleship is what I think I want to do. Since these can grab that point easily enough. I do need to switch my skills out, though. As useful as Mecha Dominator might be, I do want to keep them distant, if at all possible. So let's see what this is, if this is the same fleet or not.
Engage engine red lines.
Yeah, let's be quick about this, because I am burning the combustion all head full on those cruisers. There. Get them turning and get them ready to reconverge.
State your order.
These two don't really need to converge, or at least boost. Not that it makes a big deal, I suppose. Otherwise, what do we have?
You have seized a strategic area.
We have 5 cruisers, so I'm assuming it's the same thing. We're not seeing the frigates this time, though,
The enemy has seized a
which our
strategic
adversary
area.
is improving, or at least is learning. To an extent. Actually, let me not hold fire. These Novas can do a fair amount of damage, and I want them to contribute,
The enemy has seized
if
a
at all
strategic
possible.
area. You have seized a strategic area.
So we're both got 2 points to each other. So it's anybody's game. And I should get ready to try and at least punish them for going after the 3rd point. Ideally.
The spirits obey.
And you two can boost forward. Group back up together and get ready for your full firepower. And ideally be spread out far enough to support each other too. That's another nice benefit if I can at least have the awareness to abuse that fact, or at least take advantage of it.
Engaging drive.
Yeah, alright.
To serve the Omnissiah.
We'll have them revealed momentarily. What's our range look like, though? Yep, we'll have them revealed in time for actually shooting them.
Ready to serve.
So begin our attack, or turn for the attack, or hell.
We are ready to serve.
Let's see.
Thruster routines active.
Is this... No, these are Grand Cruisers this time, interestingly.
To serve the Omnissiah.
So our opponent's experimenting,
Transition
which is fine there.
begun.
Now, I want to pin them and isolate them.
Machine spirit appeased. Hostile signature detected.
Alright, let's get them out of here.
Order. Calculating vectors.
We have at least some of the ships being isolated, but now we have to do damage for it to matter. And actually, I just want to slow these ships down more. Because I got some good hits so far. These are taking unnecessary damage right now, but... what do I want to slow down? Well, actually, I don't need to slow down anything. Just keep hitting them. Because you just burnt a lot of combustion gauge there. Alright, let the shields recharge some. The Stasis Bomb's not going to do much in this regard, and we have more Nova Cannon shots, so keep that in mind. And preferably don't ram ourselves.
Transition begun.
This will give me time to regenerate,
Target on screens.
change target a bit,
Machine spirit appeased.
and no frigates being
Transition
spotted.
begun.
We are a little bit cramped though, so I gotta be careful of
State
this.
your order.
But we did good damage onto the frigates. Actually,
To serve the
these two can go into gas cloud. These ones are just gonna use the asteroid belt.
Retro propulsion.
And I gotta be ready to
Routines active.
get out really quickly, I suppose, because otherwise I'm just giving them free damage.
Receiving your order. Reroute power to retro propulsion.
Alright.
State your order. Engaging drive.
An odd setup for me, but
We are ready to serve.
it's effective and to the point. Now let's just get the frigates out here. And be ready for
Receiving your
when
order.
they try and grab the objective, which is probably what's going to happen here.
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
So we're going to be forced to a certain engagement. I'm a little bit saddened I didn't get to take advantage of our
Interceptors engaging.
Radstorm, because there's enough free time here I could have recharged that. Yep, my opponent's just conceal himself, that's fine.
To serve the Omnissiah.
Let's get these frigates in here and ready. And prepare to jump them.
Machine spirit appeased.
And hopefully I can start getting those critical hits to start
Matchless
connecting.
efficiency.
The
But for
enemy
that to
has
really
seized a
happen, we'll need to
strategic
do
area.
reach those damage thresholds to get additional critical hits.
Hostile signature detected.
Alright, so there is a dictator as well.
State your
Interesting mix, so
order. Hostile signature detected. Receiving your order.
alright. Trying to be clever, I see. I would like to Radstorm, but I don't think that's going to help
Receiving
too
your
much.
order.
And that almost was a hit on myself, but you were burning a lot of combustion gauge.
To serve
I am
the
okay with
Omnissiah.
this.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic
This is
points.
going to hurt. Although they are burning a lot of their boosters.
Machine spirit appeased. Hostile signature detected.
Get these guys out.
The engines.
Get them out of the Stasis Bomb.
Machine spirit appeased.
You have accumulated 25%
And
of strategic
now we're kind of in the
points.
thick of it, alas.
Engaging drive. We are ready to serve.
And I do have ramming spurs and the additional armor here.
Collision protocols active. The spirits obey.
And that
Receiving
I
your
should have
order.
fired those sooner, sadly.
Reroute power to retro propulsion.
Because those Nova Cannons actually are going to connect. I'm a little bit shocked there.
Transition begun. Hostile signature detected.
Alright, go on in there.
The
Spread
spirits
through.
obey.
And get ready for maybe some more damage. Because this thing is limping right now.
Machine spirit appeased.
Now just gotta minimize the morale damage or troop damage.
We are ready to serve.
You have 10 seconds left, so can we make this hurt?
To serve the
And that's a
Omnissiah.
dictator, it has torpedoes, keep that in mind.
Reroute power to retro propulsion. Receiving your order.
And this is gonna hurt me. I'm gonna get rammed in the stern.
Course set. To serve the Omnisire. Transition begun. State your order.
Alright, Call to Arms is now inactive. We don't have any more Nova cannons to utilize just yet.
Cybernetica have boarded the enemy.
Now I need to be able to focus fire. Especially if a rally just burnt.
Begin rearmament.
So this could get a Nova cannon shot in time in 10 seconds for another stasis bomb.
Engaging drive. Rouse the engines. We are ready to serve.
Alright, ram it, because that's going to be your death right now.
Accumulated 50% of strategic points. The enemy has accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Now, it's hard to see my flagship, alas, so I'm hoping... I was going to say hopefully it could get the prow to connect.
Reroute power to retropropulsion.
And I do have shields, keep that in mind. For this, obviously... Yeah, this is a ridiculous maneuver, because my morale is going to break.
Defeat probability at critical level.
That was probably not the smartest thing I could have done.
Engaging drive.
But it's still going to get messy. I have morale on the flagship.
To retropropulsion.
Bombers are about to launch, although that could have been a terrible use of my bombers.
Serve the Omnisire.
And I do have Brace for Impact to help in this exchange.
Transition begun. Machine spirit appeased.
Now, that was a close victory.
Legio Cybernetica have boarded the enemy.
It's not over yet.
To serve the Omnisire.
Just hit the ship at least once.
Energize vectored thrust.
Is all you need to do. So yeah, that was a bad engagement for me, I won't lie, since I'm supposed to stay at a distance and try and soften them up. I'm just thankful the torpedoes were not as problematic as they could have been. Since after all, I have less troops. I wonder, can I actually see the entire fleet here? Just to make my statement. Yeah, they, in theory, should have more hit points than me. Because what, 2,000 versus the 1,600 of my tyrants. So 40's vengeances basically makes a 5th cruiser just in the sheer hit point pool. Never mind how much harder it is to get the critical hits. And they got a ridiculous amount of macro weaponry too. Only advantage I had going for that was maybe they did not have armor piercing, but to be fair, that was also what, a hybrid fleet? With the lances and macro cannons, so that could have been a lot more terrifying with Avengers, so I want to say maybe I got lucky there. I want to say anyway.